Hello and welcome to Pluribus Fireside Chat. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Now, there really isn't that much housekeeping to do for this episode, so let's get right into the news. The first news story is U.S. intel agencies don't believe Maduro regime directs Venezuelan gang. The regime of Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro probably not directing the criminal gang Tren de Aragua's movement into operations within the U.S., according to partially declassified intelligence memo, which is where I had to immediately go, wait, people actually believe that? That's what I remembered. Like, yeah, people actually legitimately believe that. I really don't understand this mentality. People are just so fucking stupid. Like, I mean, I just gotta be real. Like, this whole story just proves how fucking stupid and racist a lot of people are. I genuinely am so flabbergasted that so many people literally just believe the story that, like, regimes in, like, Latin America are, like, controlling gangs in the United States. Are you kidding me? Are you stupid? Yes, they are. Like, there's a video by there's a video by Bad Empanada, and I just did a brief tertiary glance at, like, the fucking, like, wikis of, like, analysis of, like, because here's the thing. Like, this whole narrative, like, immediately fell flat for me, like, when it was literally, like, Trump was saying, like, the Venezuelan gangs are taking over hotels, and then so, like, the hotels were not being taken over by a Venezuelan gang, so it's like, okay, you just blew it, you just fucking blew it. Like, I don't buy any of the fucking, like, nonsense, like, a lot of the stuff that usually comes out of Latin America when they talk about, like, oh, cartel violence, the cartels are, like, running rampant in these, it's like, yeah, there are, like, cartels and, like, drug traffickers in those areas, but, like, most of, like, the fear-mongering in America is, like, super overblown. It's, like, the same thing they deal with, it's sort of, like, I don't know if this is the appropriate terminology of it, orientalizing. Like, it's a stereotype that just, like, it's, like, they think, like, oh, basically, like, this is the thing, it's, like, it's even gone to the levels of, like, left-wingers, like, Hassan, like, just openly just says on his stream, like, yeah, Mexico's basically completely run by the cartels, so there's no point in regards to their politics, so it's, like, that's really stupid analysis, Hassan, but anyways, it's, like, you really don't understand this. You don't understand any of these things. You think, like, oh, everything about Latin America is, like, cartels, evil, that kind of stuff. Africa is basically, like, a desolate wasteland of, like, jungles. And then, like, Asia is, like, authoritarian dictatorships with, like, I don't know, like sweatshops everywhere. The Middle East are all terrorists. Like, you know, that's the same stereotype that they do for everything. It's the same stereotype. Like, it's all completely, like, a stereotypical nonsense that is only used to drum up, like, support for a political cause. And I know this because, like, and another aspect of this is the fact that in America, Tren de Aragua is painted as, like, this, oh, like, the Maduro regime is using them to, like, push their evil socialist forces in America and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, in Venezuela, Maduro claims that the Venezuelan opposition is bankrolled by Tren de Aragua, with many others in the Venezuelan government even alleging that the United States is bankrolling Tren de Aragua, basically to use them as a scapegoat to do shady things in Venezuela. It's like, see, this is the thing. See, this is where you kind of start to realize, like, maybe this story is complete bullshit. I think maybe hypothetically, like, because basically, like, again, I talked briefly about Bad Empanada. Bad Empanada basically made a video where he basically explained this a lot better, but he basically explained, like, Tren de Aragua was a somewhat prominent, like, drug gang in one particular prison, and they were pretty powerful in that prison, but, like, now they're basically kind of, like, just, like, used in the abstract, like how in America uses ISIS as, like, everybody still thinks, like, ISIS, but, like, ISIS hasn't really been a big prominent thing since, like, 2014. Like, technically, ISIS is still around, but it's, like, not really prominent anymore. Like, it's effectively, like, defeated. It's effectively done, and people who still fearmonger about ISIS are just, like, it's not a fearmongering anymore. That's all they're doing. They're fearmongering. Like, when it comes to stories like this, it's always fearmongering. It's always, like, U.S. media lying and, like, not either stretching the truth or just flat out lying, and or people trying to push agenda. Like, I had an argument recently with, like, someone who was like, they claim they're from Mexico, and they're, like, talking about, like, oh, crime is so bad down here in Mexico. Oh, I want the United States to intervene in Mexico. Yes, sure you do, buddy. Sure you do, Mr. Boop. Sure you do. But regardless, it's like, anecdotal evidence means nothing when statistically crime has gone down in Mexico since AMLO's administration and since Scheinbaum's taken over. Crime has gone down. It hasn't gone down by too much, but it's gone down. It has gone down. And it's only being used to fearmonger and push for a harsher it's just to push for harsher on board it's just used to push for fascist policies. I'll save that for one of the latter news stories, because you know how I do this. I like to start with foreign news and then make my way to America. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna go into a little bit of a interesting. It's a thing that I probably should have been paying attention to a little more, because this actually apparently has been going for a little bit, but it's gotten into a recent issue right now, and it's the India-Pakistan strikes that are going on right now. You see, basically, for those who don't know, and I don't blame you if you don't know, because I don't recall seeing a lot of this when it came out at the time. I don't think so, but I can't really get too much in depth about the earlier, but militants in Jammu and Kashmir attacked some people and killed 26 civilians on April 22nd of 2025, which stems into the larger Kashmir conflict, where basically, I went over this a lot more in my India election episode a while ago, but to summarize as basely as I can, when Britain decided to partition the area, they really fucked up and led to a territorial dispute with Jammu and Kashmir, where they were both claimed by India and Pakistan. A lot of it also stemming from religiosity, because Pakistan is a very Muslim nation. Meanwhile, India, while ethnically mixed, is currently run by Hindu nationalists or Hindu fascists. So naturally, there's going to be a bit of a scuffle with people who, basically, Modi's basically been like trying to egg them on into doing something drastic. And I think like very early on, I mentioned that like at one point like they literally annexed like Jammu and Kashmir, like formally annexed them. Like they were in a situation where I think it was like both, like it was like they both claimed it, and due to the fact that they both claimed it, they both didn't feel like they needed to like exert authority in the region. And since May 7th, the Indian Armed Forces launched some attacks targeting areas in the Pakistani, the Pakistani areas that are that have Kashmir that they own, as well as the Punjab province in Pakistan. And while India makes the claim that, oh, we were just attacking like the radicals in your area. Don't worry, we didn't do anything about it. We just only targeted the radicals in your area, and we're attacking those guys. Pakistan responded with, dude, you literally attacked civilian areas, including mosques, killing 31 civilians of ours. And naturally, they decided to strike back against India, launching an attack called the Unbreakable Wall. Well, it's an Arabic term, but I'm not going to say that I'm not going to attempt it because I'm not, because I know I'll fuck it up and I haven't checked. But it's based on a famous verse in the Quran saying, surely Allah loves those who fight in his cause in solid ranks as if they were one unbreakable wall. This conflict getting even more interesting due to the fact that it is the first drone war between two nuclear-armed nations. Yeah, that's definitely gonna turn out great. And then one thing that got a lot more people interested in this is one particular country's response to this conflict, because a lot of this kind of would generally fall under the radar for most people, because most people aren't really interested in these two countries for reasons that are probably not the best reasons. But here's one aspect that got people's attention. So reportedly, cruise missiles that were related to the Indo-Israeli Sky Striker were used in the operation. So a lot of people are like, uh-oh. And then in this, it says here, foreign reactions, most countries have the foreign reaction of saying, I think that it's for the best interest that we need to, everybody needs to show some restraint. I know things are tension and heating up right now, but we need to calm down. Except for one country. Can you guess which one it was? Israel, saying that they 100% agree with India at this moment, saying that they support India's right to self-defense. Oh boy. And And I think in this particular conflict, a lot of people have been pointing out that India's starting to try and use bots to try and like push the like spectrum in their favor. It's like, oh boy. But anyways, I don't know much more about this conflict. I just wanted to mention it because, you know, I think it would be wrong for me to not mention it. But like, I don't like India's like government at the moment. I don't really particularly like Pakistan's government either. But like, wait, I'm just saying, if a certain country didn't like immediately rush to support India, then maybe I wouldn't have like, maybe I'd be a bit more like both sidesy on this. Speaking of that country, Israel has been doing some shenanigans, a lot of interesting shenanigans. Okay, so Israel announced that they plan to seize Gaza under a new plan. Like, they basically just announced like they were just full on going to start annexing Gaza. Like, it was just very blatant. Like, I mean, there's not much else I could say about that. Like, they just blatantly were just like, yeah, we're just going to move hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to Gaza South, which would, like, it was basically like, yeah, they're just going to forcibly move them to the south and then take that area over. Like, just blatantly. Like, just blatantly. Like, just blatantly. Like, this is the thing. This is the reason why I'm, like, I just can't say, like, I just don't understand how people, like, supportive of Israel. If they are just blatantly just being like, we're going to do evil things. Like, I'm just sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Israel's just like, we're literally going to do the most evil shit imaginable. And then people are just like, oh, I mean, this is a little bit complicated. This isn't complicated at all. This is not complicated, man. This really isn't. Israel's just blatantly just being evil. And then they just like, this is the thing. I don't get it. It's like, on one end, Israel will say something like a blatantly fucking like racist, sexist, like they'll just say like the most blatantly like out of pocket shit ever about like Palestinians, and then it's just like the next they'll say like something that they blame Hamas for doing, and they're like, oh, like they'll I like segue to another part where the president of Israel, Isaac Herzog, and I need to remind you guys of this. Isaac Herzog is a member of the Israeli quote-unquote left. He is the leader of he's not the leader, but he's like a member of a political party called the Democrats, which is a social democratic like center-left force in Israel. They're the main center-left force in Israel. Remember, these are the guys that are supposed to be the opposition to like this is supposed to be the people who are the opposition to Netanyahu. Remember this as I tell you. He said, he said in some of the most recent things, like a day or two before, Netanyahu basically just did his whole, this spiel. He said, Isaac Herzog was quoted as saying, every time anew in my visits around the country, especially in the West Bank, I refuse to call it by whatever he's gonna fucking call it, my understanding is of how much settlement is a positive, wonderful, and thriving project, and how much settlement is Israel's defensive shield in the full meaning of the word is strengthened. Going on to state, settlement is one of the cornerstones of Zionism and of the Jewish story from ancient times. This is all the more correct at this time when the challenges of the movement in the realm of settlement are very great, and therefore we expect all relevant officials to officially get on board with security of settlements around the entire country. Yeah, remember, this is supposed to be the opposition to Netanyahu. The opposition to Netanyahu. And he's basically set an identical position to Netanyahu. And it's the same thing for other ones. I saw an interview with the fucking current leader of that party, who they literally were just they were this is what happened. They were trying to criticize Netanyahu for his handling of the war, and then the pundit next to him basically said yeah, and you oppose immigration for the Palestinians. He's like, I support the immigration of the Palestinians. I do. It's what's the point? You're not an opposition party if you're literally going to lockstep with the literal exact policies that the fucking party is. And I should remind you, these are the same figures that Ethan Klein votes for and then expects you guys to suck his dick and be I voted against Netanyahu. It's you voted for these guys. He hasn't said explicitly that he voted for these parties, but it's pretty obvious when you actually do a tabulations of Ethan Klein's history. Ethan and Elam moved to Israel in 2009 and then left Israel in 2015. Statistically, they only had to be statistically, Ethan Klein could have only voted in one Israeli election, and that is the Israeli election of, that's the Israeli election of 2013. That's the only way he could have voted in an election, and statistically, he doesn't have that many options if he wants to claim that he's like this big opponent of Netanyahu, and then also like his only options really are Labour Party, maybe the Independence Party. He doesn't have that many options. Given his general political leanings, it's pretty obvious that he voted for the Labour Party. It's pretty obvious that he voted for the Labour Party. It's just pretty obvious. And that's not like a big W that you think it is. If you vote for the Israeli Labour Party, you're a Zionist, and you're like, this is what the Israeli Labour Party... These guys were like fucking Israeli Labour Party members before they became part of the Democrats, which is like a big... Like, Israeli Labour Party joined a organization called the Zionist Union. You tell me if they're like, oh, well, I'm not a Zionist, but I vote for these parties. It's like whatever. There is another news story regarding Israel that I also want to talk about, and it's actually something that's like somewhat interesting. I know that there are a lot of people that it's like just slightly interesting to me. I know it probably won't mean much. I don't expect it to mean much, but I'm just putting it out just to put it out. Okay, so it's apparently Israel and Trump are starting to have some divisions. So basically, Donald Trump held a meeting with like Netanyahu recently after because he was able to negotiate a deal, and it was like people were really surprised about the deal. The deal was basically Donald Trump was able to negotiate a deal. Well, I mean, I guess someone in his organization, but Trump, quote unquote, was able to organize a deal with the Houthis, and saying he basically said yeah, you can do whatever you want to everyone else, but leave U.S. ships alone, and then they agreed. And then now all of a sudden he's claiming all these really... He's basically saying exactly what Hassan said about fucking the Houthis. Apparently, I watched the Hassan stream, and Hassan said he basically said oh well, he said way more than I've ever said about them, and that's of course made Netanyahu mad, and then Netanyahu calls Trump up, and he of course has to go to his beck and call. But then when he gets there, he gets really mad, and then he starts getting they start openly disagreeing on a lot of stuff. And according to it says on a deal with Saudi Arabia, Trump wants Israel to be a central part of an agreement, but quote, Netanyahu is delaying making the necessary decisions, writes Israelis Hayom, who interviewed Trump at Mar-a-Lago last year. That was a last year news story, but and then afterwards, Israel basically said the thing that they always say. It's Israel can defend itself by itself, and it's and then Trump's basically been I mean, I do it then, because another thing that Trump has been disagreeing on, and it's weird because I saw it from the fucking down the road MAGA people, all of a sudden they're all being we're not going to war with Iran. It's wait, but I thought that was I thought that was the game plan, but then it's they just Trump is trying to say blatantly he does not want to go to war with Iran. Well, he said in an interview a while ago, he said he might go to war with Iran, but if he wants to, not at the behest of Israel. Even to the point where I saw a thing where it's AIPAC is apparently spending money on ads that are literally trying to goad the United States into going into war with Iran. Now that one is a little bit slightly surprising because to me, Trump was very obviously wanting to go to war with Iran. The first thing he did when he went into his first term was he got rid of the Iran nuclear deal, and then the last thing he did was he bombed Soleimani. So it's surprising that he would even say that he's just not going to go to war with Iran. I mean, is that going to last? I don't know. At this point, I don't know. I mean, going into this term, I thought we were guaranteed to do it. But now it's I mean, and I saw some people going online saying oh well, this is just a play. This is just Trump saying this is just a long game where Trump is going to say oh, I'm not doing it at the behest of Israel, so then he can then claim later I'm doing it on the behest of America. But it's I don't know. I don't I mean, to me it's I thought it was 100% guaranteed we were going to go to war with Iran, and now it's 80%, maybe 75. I don't know. But a news story that relates to the first news story that I said. So this just happened. The mayor of Newark, New Jersey, Ross Baraka, was arrested at an immigration detention center. So basically, for those who don't know, an ICE detention center was being built in his city, and his constituents, everybody there does not want it to be built. but for some reason it's being built. So he decided, he and a bunch of like nationwide Democrats have decided to protest. And during the protest, he's been arrested. And then, coincidentally, Stephen Miller, the Nazi in state, basically just openly floats, we should end habeas corpus. And Baraka is running for governor, so if you live in New Jersey, vote for him. I mean, there's really not much else I can say. There's just nothing I could really say. I mean, the story's kind of like just there. It's like basically, again, it's like the excuse for like the immigration issue is being used as an excuse to push for like harsher like crime policies. Yeah, shocker. The sky is blue. Like yeah. It's so obvious. Like that's always what it is. That's always what it is. Like, that's always how it works. So rise of authoritarianism is always when you want to go like, I'm going to be tough on crime, quote unquote. All right, and the last news story. It's a story that's only interesting It's a copyright story again. Yeah, well, a copyright story. Hooray, more copyright issues, because I love talking about copyright. This story being another test of my brand loyalty. Palworld is forced to make yet another compromise in its ongoing legal battle with Nintendo, apologizing to players. So apparently, here's how it works. Okay, so apparently, if you don't remember, Nintendo is currently facing a patent infringement lawsuit with a company called Pocket Pair over a game that they made called Palworld. And Palworld is basically Pokemon with guns. Like, I mean, they don't like it when you use that comparison, but that's basically what it is. Pokemon with guns. And then what ended up happening is a lot of people started going to Palworld and being like, yo, dude, this game is so fucking good. Even some people going so far as to say that it was better than Nintendo's most recent Pokemon endeavors. I haven't played Palworld, and I personally thought, okay, let me think. I'm trying to remember the most recent Pokemon games. I liked, I'm trying to remember, what are the Switch, I have them right here. People have been complaining about Nintendo's most recent Pokemon endeavors. The three most recent Pokemon, I guess main-ish line Pokemon games are Pokemon Sword, Pokemon Legends Arceus, and Pokemon Scarlet. I rather liked Pokemon Sword. I thought it was a really good game. I mean, it was fine. Pokemon Legends Arceus was significantly better because it added more of a challenge with they added a lot of new elements that gave it a bit of a challenge. Challenge, not really. It's but it was a challenge enough. Pokemon Scarlet was it wasn't it was I think you can kind of piece together my opinion on it just based on that. I can't really describe it that much. It's okay, but I think brand loyalty is kind of the thing that kept me going on that regard. I have an older Switch model, so I kind of have to endure the most glaring of its glitch problems, of its visual issues. The story wasn't that impressive, and I'll admit, the stories of the most recent Pokemon games haven't really been the best. I mean, Legends Arceus had a good enough story. Legends Arceus was I don't know if everyone agrees with me, but Legends Arceus for the most part was a really good game. But I will admit they're not as to the level of quality of previous Pokemon games that I have had. Pokemon, Gen 5, Pokemon Black and White, Black 2 and White 2 were pretty, I still remember them very fondly. I haven't played them in a while. I'll probably play one of them again at some point. I thought all the ones on the 3DS were really good, but that's one of the big problems with, Pokemon in regards to, its, the way it does. You see, for Pokemon, this is a philosophy of Pokemon that's if you want to know, this is the very important thing. For Pokemon, it's always like this. The first games usually aren't the best. They usually aren't the best visually. They're usually aren't the best gameplay-wise. They're usually not the best in that regard. And it's because they're starting off on the most early version of the hardware, and they basically have no time to program on it. They have to basically do immediately just to get the game out. Then, as they release a couple more games, they start learning a little bit about how this hardware goes. What's the limits that we can do? And that's why near the end, it's always we finally got the hang of it. But then it's new game, new console, new idea, and they got to start all the way back from square one. Take how take the ones on the DS, Diamond and Pearl. I mean, they're fine. They're not the best visual wise. Platinum, like tested a little bit more about what they could and couldn't do. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, they did a lot more like visual kind of stuff. And Black and White and Black 2 and White 2, they did a lot. They did a lot for what the system could do. But the thing is, I mean, a lot of other people are not necessarily that enthused about the latest Pokemon games, especially considering a lot of people really do see it as it's like a cash grab at this point, where it's like they know people will buy anything with the Pokemon brand on it. So they're just going to keep selling things from the Pokemon brand. Like, that's all they need to do. Because there are a lot of people who complain about, like, graphically, they're not the best games. They could be way better. The Switch has so much capabilities to be better, but they don't do it for some reason. They could have a lot more compelling stories, but they don't, because it's just the basic gameplay of Pokemon. Like, just do the most basic Pokemon thing. Like, they're not gonna do a game of Pokemon that is, like, super deep. Like, I mean, I think the last Pokemon game that was deep is, again, Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, or Pokemon Black and White, because they dealt with, like, the philosophical argument of, like, oh, is training Pokemon immoral? They actually dealt with that argument that's been, like, a joke amongst the Pokemon franchise for a while, which is why a lot of people are kind of turning to other games of similar styles to Pokemon to get their fill, which is why the game Pal World became so popular. Although, also, I would recommend the Digimon story games, like what's it called? Digimon Cyber Sleuth and Digimon Hackers story. If you have a Switch, they have a bundle of that on, like, the Switch, with versions of it also on the PlayStation. But, like, that's my point. And that's just, I mean, that's just kind of how it is. Like, that's how it is. If Nintendo can't fulfill what the gamers want, they're going to go to new games. But Nintendo's not happy about that, so they're doing everything in their power to make sure that those new games don't have good ideas. So Nintendo basically, like, dug out, like, 15 million old patents and basically said, we patented the idea of catching creatures in small balls, so you can't do that anymore. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. There's, like, a fucking picture of a person throwing a ball at a creature, and that's, like, their patent for, like, the concept of catching a creature in a ball. So now in Pal World, even though that was a thing you could do in Pal World, now you can't do it in Pal World anymore. They literally just had to take that part out. The code now just has it so, like, it's just a static image before the battle starts. It's like, why would you do that? Of course Nintendo's doing it because they're afraid of people, like... But this recent one is also a bit of infuriating. Okay, so here's the Pocket Pair tweet. Furthermore, we regret to inform our players that with the implementation of patch version 0.55, we must yet take another compromise. From this patch onward, gliding will be performed using a glider rather than with the PALs. PALs and the player's team will still provide passive buffs to gliding, but players will now need to have a glider in their inventory in order to glide. We understand that this will be disappointing for many, just as it is for us, but we hope that our fans understand that these changes are necessary in order to prevent further disruptions in the development of Pal World. So, for those who don't know, in Pokemon, there's a feature where there's a move called Fly, and in that, you can use your Pokemon to fly, and in Pal World, they had the interesting idea of also making your creatures fly, and you fly on your creatures. But the way Nintendo has done it in the past has always been like this. Here's how Nintendo does it. In Nintendo, they always did it with like a little, like a generic sprite of a creature flying, and then it would fly with you, and it would immediately transport you to the area. Then, in more recent games, Nintendo introduced, like, flying creatures, like, specific creatures to fly, so that you didn't need to use the move Fly in the thing, and sometimes allowing you to actually, like, fly with the creatures. Like, I mean, in Legends Arceus, they give you, like, they give you a bird that you can, like, fly with, and you can fly around the area with. And that's interesting. But Pal World did something that Pokemon fans have been demanding for a long time, literally allowing you the chance to take your creature and fly. Like, literally, in Pal World, you could take the creature you had that you wanted to, get on it, and fly around the map. An objective improvement over the things that Nintendo has been doing. And Nintendo said, nope, you can't do that. You can't do that. Well, Nintendo, are you going to do it then? I highly doubt it. But you're going to prevent other people from doing it. See, this is why I fucking hate copyright and all this, like... this is why I fucking hate copyright and intellectual property in general. It's like, Nintendo is claiming they own the concept of a creature, of you getting on a creature and flying around in it. They're claiming they own that. That is super fucking stupid. Nintendo is like, we own the concept of you throwing a ball at a creature. It is infuriating. That is fucking... I hate this so fucking much. Like, similar concepts in gaming have been going on for years, where like Bandai Namco made the claim that they we own the patent of you playing a minigame during the loading screen. And it's like, great, now literally everybody can't do that for some reason. Why not? Like genuinely, just like, why? Why? Like, why can't another fucking game make a game where you can fly around on a bird? Is that such a fucking ludicrous concept? And I went to Pal World's original tweet, and then like there were some people like, man, Nintendo, you guys need new lawyers. It's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, let's look it up again. Let's look it up right here, right now. I was gonna look up the fucking like how much did the companies actually cost, but apparently Pocket Pair, they don't have that. They don't have that publicly available. So like, what I've been doing is I'm using the fucking shitty Google AI things of like just judging their most recent games worth. So according to the shitty AI YouTube, the shitty AI Google search thing, it says Pal World has grossed over an estimated $442 million. Meanwhile, let's compare it to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the most recent Pokemon games. It's estimated to be around $1.6 billion. So yeah, like people are like, oh, but Pal World needs better lawyers. It's like, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Nintendo makes more money than them. Nintendo makes more money than them. They are an infinitely more popular video game franchise, video game company. It doesn't matter how much money. It doesn't matter. They'll just be able to buy so many high priced lawyers and then drag this case out until Pocket Pair can't do anything about it. And it's so fucking infuriating because it's just depressing. It's honestly very depressing. And then you guys wonder, why are you so anti-copyright? Huh, I wonder why. I wonder why I'm anti-IP laws. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's move on to the main topic of this video. Well, I guess main topic, I don't know how long I'll be able to talk about this topic. This is just like a lesser topic for, I just decided to do like a lesser topic. This is a topic that I had in my head, and I was wondering if I could make it longer, but I didn't have that many gripes apparently, so let's just get into it. The question is, like, the question in the title is, it's a rhetorical question. It's like rhetorical. It's more me griping about the whys, not actually answering the question of why. Really, only a couple of these ones I actually have an answer to, because, really only a few of them I actually have an answer to. It's really just me griping over the fact that there are a lot of people on the left that seemingly have, like, a completely different antithesis. Like, and it's not just like, oh, like, you know how, like, some people, like, you know, it's like some people, like, of course there's like, going to be, like, general ideological, we're not all going to be ideologically 100% the exact same, but the problem is, it's like, I'll see an ideological trend, and then magically I'll see the ideological trend change, and it's just like, why did this, why? Like, what happened? Why are they magically, like, why is this thing, it's been, like, magically, like, a cornerstone of left-wing politics for, like, years, magically, like, persona non grata, I guess. Like, first, I guess I'll say, I don't know, this is one I didn't write down, but it's just, like, one, I guess I'll just add this in, because I don't know if this, like, really counts, but, like, I'm seeing a lot of people on the left, like, lower their standards, and part of that can be explained by, like, some people doing, like, the lesser of two evils things. It seems like that kind of, like, has led to a lot of people, like, it seems like, I mean, voting for lesser of two evils is one thing, but, like, magically, now we're seeing a lot of people, like, actually openly praising people that, like, really shouldn't be praised. Like we see, like, a lot of lefties, like, cheer for Mark Carney winning in Canada, and it's like, why? You just got a neoliberal banker as, like, your prime minister? Like, I mean, cool, conservatives lost, but, like, I mean, it's not really that impressive. I openly, I guess I technically endorsed Sergio Massa for, like, Argentine president after Juan Grabois and Miriam Bregman, like, lost, but it's like, I wasn't, like, particularly enthused about Massa. I wasn't like, woohoo, Massa, let's go. It's like, I accepted Massa was, like, just kind of going to be there. Like, I just accepted that he was going to be, like, a standard president, and he was, like, better than the alternative, but that's what really it. And like one recent thing that just happened, it literally just happened, where like I'm seeing like some people like on Twitter, they go like, oh, I'm a left-wing populist, or I'm like a hardcore like socialist, anti-capitalist, like pro-Palestinian, like super like all this stuff, like basically every single like really hardcore issue on like that's even to the fringe of most of the Democratic Party, and then like magically like also like just support random like conservadems, and then also like he's like the thing that just happened was literally like a lot of people like during the Michigan Senate race, like there are a couple of candidates that jumped in the race as of yet, and some people were going like some people on the so-called like left were going really like, well, I mean, Abdullah Saeed or Mallory McMorrow, Mallory McMorrow, and then like I was sitting there confused. I was like, no, I don't know. Why is there an and or? There is no and, there is no or. It's Abdullah Saeed or no one. Like, but I saw a lot of people like, oh yeah, and then magically, like McMorrow, like just today, as I'm recording this, like did like she like announced, like I mean, well, she didn't announce, but like Israeli organization got a letter from her basically saying like, yes, I am a hardcore, I support Israel, I love Israel, Israel's so awesome and cool and amazing and blah blah blah. And a lot of these people were like, McMorrow, I'm so disappointed in you, I'm so sad, how dare you, I do not support you anymore. It's like, what exactly about her made you think that she was not going to be a Zionist? Like, I'm genuinely I just doing a tertiary research about her, it's like she's endorsed a bunch of normie Dems. Her biggest political like stances are like, I support gay people, I support abortion, I support gun control. It's like, where were you getting like she was like this magical hardcore like far left like figurehead? Like, where did you get this? I mean, I think we're at the point where I thought about making a podcast basically called like why progressivism isn't enough anymore, but because it's like at this point it's just like, yeah, a lot of people are like, I thought she was like a really cool progressive. It's like, yeah, but maybe she quote unquote is. Like, I mean, Elizabeth Warren is a progressive and she fucking sucks. Katie Porter's a progressive and she fucking sucks. Like, I mean, I'm sorry guys, but like that's a fact. Like, I mean, there are a lot of people who claim to be progressive that are just like, they suck. They absolutely suck. Like, for me personally, I'm basically like socialist or bust at this point. Like, I mean, if you're basically not a socialist, it's like you're not worth my time. Like, I mean, I might quote unquote vote for you in like a lesser of two evils situation or whatever. I don't know. That depends on the situation. But it's like, I'm not actively supporting you. I'm not actively giving you money. I'm not actively supporting you. I'm not actively joining your cause. If you're not like a hardcore like anti-Zionist socialist at this point, like there is nothing. Like literally, those are like my hard stances now. We're past the point of somebody being like, oh, we need to like tighten the nuts and bolts and make capitalism fair. We're past that point. That point is gone. And that's also a little bit of a tie to my next thing that's like a bit more interesting. Okay, so I don't know if this will get me hate or if this will get me love or whatever. But nuclear power, I really don't understand why. Like, this is the biggest example that I really saw. Like literally randomly, it's like anti-nuclear like energy. This is kind of like been a cornerstone of most, if not all, left-wing politics in like around the world. But magically now, like a lot of the left is just like pro-nuclear energy. I really don't know why. I don't know why. I really have no clue how that happened. Randomly, like literally, it didn't even seem like that long ago. It's just like, yeah, we're anti-nuclear energy, and then magically, a bunch of lefties just started being like, yes, we love nuclear energy. It's like, and then people will be like, oh, if you don't like nuclear energy, then you're just a cringe fake leftist. It's like, what? Why? I mean, I could point to like the 15 million years of like left-wing politics that was like anti-nuclear energy. Where are you gonna get your pro-left-wing nuclear energy idea from? Like, yeah, we can acknowledge, like, the fossil fuel companies putting a ton of money into some aspects of the anti-nuclear movement to protect their own interests. But, like, does that negate, like, actual criticisms of nuclear energy? Like, I mean, I really don't get it. It's like, yeah, there are some benefits to nuclear energy. Yeah, that's not in dispute. It's not in dispute that there are some benefits to nuclear energy, purely on the fact that it is a low-carbon energy source. It's literally that. Pure energy, nuclear power, if nuclear energy works fine, it works great if it's handled properly. If not, you get Chernobyl, you get Fukushima. Like literally, those are the downsides to those arguments. That's the downside. It's like, yeah, you can say all you want, like, but nuclear energy is so cool, it's so good, it works great. It's like, yeah, until it doesn't, until it fucks up. And we have the situation where it's like, we have to do two things. Where it's like, one, you point at your like you point at your like your kumbaya utopia, but then also you have to acknowledge like the real world. It's the same thing. Like my policies do the same thing. Like people will criticize my policies for like, yeah, but like in the short term or in the real world, blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, then I can do the same thing to fucking you. Okay, it's like if you're gonna say that like this policy of mine is bad because in the system we have now, if that policy were implemented, then bad things would happen. Then yeah, I could say the same thing to fucking you, because like in the system we have now, you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna cut corners. They're going to make nuclear power plants like fucking like run out of like shit. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna cut corners because that's what they've done in the past. That's what capitalism in this system now does. It thrives on cutting corners and making most money. And nuclear energy, that's what's gonna happen with fucking nuclear energy. Same thing with fucking like all the other forms of energy. I'm pretty sure there were ways that they could have like figured out a way to make things better, make things less carbon like put less carbon in the air. I'm pretty sure they could have figured out tons of fucking ways to do things. But they didn't, because it's not the most easy way. The easiest, most beneficial way for people to do it is, of course, the fossil fuel industry. That's the cheapest way to get energy. And if, like, we trust the system as it is now to build fucking, nuclear power plants, shit's gonna go bad. Like, that's not even the cure for climate change. Like, because this is the thing. It's like, that's not even gonna, do a lot of, literally, if you want to fix climate change, the only solutions are wind and solar alongside things like biomass, with biomass being used to take carbon out of the air. Like, that's the only path to even remotely fixing climate change. That is the only path. Nuclear energy might have been useful in the fucking, it might have been useful in the past. We're past that point. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I can't... We're past the point where we can do these half-ish measures. Like, we can't do that anymore. We need to just completely go. We're at the point where we need to do we need to do it. We need to go any way necessary. We need to. And and this is the thing. I've seen people who claim to be lefties that make fucking stupid ass arguments about solar and wind. It's literally, it's the wind's not gonna blow forever, so that's why we need nuclear energy. It's you ever heard of a fucking battery dipshit? What? What? They use it's the same thing. Maybe now at this point it's now the fossil fuel industries are trying to infiltrate the fucking left-wing circles to make nuclear energy so cool now. I don't know. What did you think of that? All right, the next one. This one is, I'm not even sure if this is really 100% true. It's the question of NATO, because NATO, for a long period of time, NATO was a pretty obvious answer for most people on the left. They were pretty critical of NATO. But now we have a lot of people who claim to be anarchists, socialists, communists, whatever, that actually sing the praises of NATO. And this is the one I had to say. I 100% know why this is the case. I just gotta be real. I know why this is the case. It's because of Vosh. It's pretty obvious. It's because of Vosh. Vosh is the one who basically led the whole anarcho-NATOist subfaction of Lockheed leftism. Basically, he just loves NATO. And infiltration of left-wing spaces by liberals like Dylan Burns and Lonerbox. I'm just completely real. Why are those two in the crowds? Why are those two in BreadTube? Why are those two considered left-wing sources? Why? They're not leftists. They're liberals. That's what they are. It's just, I gotta be real. There's another thing. It's I'm just saying, I'm just thinking it right now. Left wing, not progressive Twitter, left wing Twitter, political Twitter is fucking cancer, because it's the same. They're literally the ones who literally made us forcibly try to have neoliberals in the circles. It's no. They're not leftists by any means. Why are they here? Especially, I really don't understand why fucking Dylan Burns was considered part of BreadTube. And Destiny was also considered part of BreadTube, but Dylan Burns, I really don't understand why. He was a fucking foreign policy advisor to the fucking Mike Gravel campaign. I don't even know how he got that fucking job. Like, these guys are just full on, like, NATO simps. Like, they're like the NATO simps, Western imperialist, like, people. I mean, I was a little bit, like, I mean, even when I used to be a Vosh fan, I was just like, this don't make no sense. Like, it just don't make no sense. Like, look, I'm not saying you have to be, like, super, like, fuck NATO every day, like, and, like, immediate pull out of NATO and, like, blah, blah, blah. But, like, dude, to, like, pretend that NATO isn't, like, an imperialistic thing pushing its own agenda is a complete lie. It's just a complete lie. Like, not even ignoring, like, the fucking, like, NATO interventions that have been bad, you know, like Libya being turned into, like, an open slave trade thanks to them killing Gaddafi. Or the Yugoslavia one, which is apparently really, really bad. I haven't looked that much into that. I just know it was a very huge point of criticism when it happened. And I know what some people say. I know what some people are going to say. They're going to say, like, oh, it's just a bit. It's just a bit. Like, oh, they're just doing it as, like, a bit. As, like, a joke. It's like a haha. It's like, haha, get it? It's funny. It's funny. We're calling NATO a, like, socialist, like, thing. But then you go on to actually, it's like, I brought this up in my Dylan Burns video. I might have even brought it up in my Vosh video, where I compared their perspective on NATO to that of a alt-right perspective on basically any form of politics. They frame this as like a bit. It's like a bit. It's like a joke. But then you actually ask them, like, and you actually look at their policies. It's like, okay, but like, what do you actually stand for? It's like, it's not any at all different than their, like, joke stances. Like, it's like Vosh does the haha funny Lockheed leftism and, like, anarcho-NATOism. That's the funny haha bit. But then it's like, then you actually look at, okay, like, what does he actually stand for politically? It's like, oh, he basically supports all of the, like, Western-backed, like, foreign interventions and, like, doesn't back, anti, like, whether it be anti-imperialist or, like, just, like, I mean, again, it's, like, a little bit of a here and there thing, because, like, some lefties go, like, far and then go like, oh yeah, we support basically everything that is anti-West. It's like, you don't have to do that. I mean, but like, then jumping on the other end and basically being like, oh, we love the fucking, like, I'm hearing me saying the word like a lot, and I'm just like, I'm tired of that. But it's pretty obvious that they are, like, pretty pro NATO. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure Vosh has more criticisms of them than Lonerbox or Dylan Burns, because Dylan Burns and Lonerbox are liberals, but he's still pretty not. It's difficult to say. It's difficult to say. He's definitely more pro-West than a lot of your average lefties, I guess. Anyways, I'm rambling on this point, so I'll just move on to the next point. Trade. This one is especially recently. Like, ever since Trump got into office, a lot of so-called lefties have been shitting on tariffs. Not just Trump's tariffs, but all forms of economic protectionism. Look, I get it. Trump's tariffs are bad. I've made a full episode on why Trump's tariffs... Well, I didn't make... The full episode is not about why Trump's tariffs are bad, but it's like... The episode is a video about tariffs, where I explain the tariff policy a lot more. But... And yeah, I acknowledge that they're going to fuck us over, especially if he actually implements them. They're just going to completely ruin everything. But, like, why? Why are you going so far as just basically like, oh, every single form of economic protectionism is bad now? Like, they've jumped on to the complete opposite end. I hate to bring it up again, but, like, I saw a clip of Vosh responding to Hassan on trade. And it was the first time I ever saw a clip where I was no longer a Vosh fan. So it was actually interesting to see how it just completely, like, I mean, I wasn't, like, I didn't agree with everything he said even when I was an alleged fan. It was basically just, for a long period of time, it was literally just background noise while I edited. But, like, the fact is, it just goes completely weird. It's just, like, then he, like, Hassan basically was talking about, like, trade and, like, how the system we have ruined a lot of American industries. And then Vosh basically says everything he said in that clip was wrong and that free trade is good. What? What? That is just not even, like, just a complete antithesis of, like, I mean, it's not like, again, I've talked about how some people on the, like, left have said that they are pro free trade or whatever, but I've also seen some people say that they are pro tariff. The tariffs are not necessarily a left or right issue, but like, especially this most recent wave of leftism, this doesn't make any sense. The left has been really pro tariff or like pro protectionism at the very least since 2016. Bernie Sanders is one of the prime instigators of like the left-wing insurgents in the world, and one of his big primary perspectives in the 2016 election was trade. And a lot of people accept that trade was the major reason why Donald Trump won his initial election, and that Hillary Clinton's neoliberal economic policies in regards to trade were one of the main reasons why she lost. Like, at the very least, since 2016. Because Bernie's been saying this for a long while. Like, Bernie's been a critic of neoliberalism all the way back since 1990s. Vosh just completely went off the weird deep end on that regard, where he literally says free trade wasn't the problem of neoliberalism. It's like, but that was the thing. That was the thing. You're saying the thing that they do is not the reason why they stink? It's the equivalent of saying, oh yeah, I hate socialism, but I do like when the worker sees the means of production. It's like, what? But that's all the things. That was the primary thing of neoliberalism. Free trade agreements. That was one of the big things. Free trade. That was one of their big things. Even name dropping Karl Marx. Like, basically like, oh, Karl Marx supported free trade. Duh, so of course it's good. Which completely ignores the context of why Karl Marx supported free trade. He supported free trade because he said that free trade would cause a divide between the bourgeois and the proletarian to grow even more noticeable, thus making revolution more possible. Essentially, his support of free trade was accelerationism. Basically, hey, let's speed up the process of this revolution thing. He didn't support tariffs because he tariffs, of course, benefited the rich and powerful. Free trade also benefited the rich and powerful. Both of these economic policies benefited the rich and powerful. That's why I was critical of the concept of just saying, oh yeah, tariffs, we put tariffs on and the magical thing makes things better. No, that's not how it works. These two things still serve capitalism. That was the whole point that Marx was making. These two things serve capitalism, but under free trade, things are going to get a hell of a lot more worse, so that people will turn to communism. That was his whole point. And on a semi-related note, copyright. Copyright has been a very fucking strange one. This is one, I saved it for last because it's the one that I have, I guess I'm the one who stands the most alone on this regard, because I don't understand. Ever since AI-generated art became readily available, we've seen a lot of people doing a reanalysis of intellectual property law. And as a person who has been in favor of some form of IP intellectual property reform law, I've been in favor of intellectual property reform for a while. I mean, most people generally are in favor of the concept of IP reform. I mean, most people are like, yeah, that's a good idea. Unfortunately, it seems that everyone on the alleged left seems to have taken the road of being the biggest simps for intellectual property, even to the point where a person will discuss the copyleft movement and someone will reply, AI tech bros will love this. Not only will they defend intellectual property, but they'll also defend the hardcore defenders of intellectual property. I got into a debate, I didn't get into a debate, but I responded to an Alex Hirsch comment about intellectual property. Basically, they say, oh yeah, of course you're going to defend intellectual property because you benefit greatly from the current IP law. And then a person really was trying to defend, no, Alex Hirsch, he didn't actually mean that. It's dude, he replied to a tweet that literally said that they should reform IP law, or it was the Jack Dorsey tweet where he said destroy all IP law or something. And then Alex Hirsch is of course you defend it, Alex Hirsch, because you defend. You benefit from the current IP laws. You really do. You always get your deal with Disney. You always benefit from the current IP laws. And the people get into the nitty gritty. It's yeah, of course, in the current, of course, the same thing with fucking everything. It's if we just banned IP laws and did nothing else, then of course things would go bad. But that's not how it works. That's not the system it is. Copyleft, and most particularly under the Creative Commons license, things will be very different. There'd be no one to defend Joe Schmo on the ground's ideas, but it will also be no one able to defend fucking Jack Dorsey's ideas. Jack Dorsey's site is open source. Like, I mean, he's at least practicing what he preaches in that regard. Yeah, of course there are libertarians that are going to have the same... It's the same thing. It's like, yeah, libertarians also believe, at least generally, believe that fucking the drug war is bad and that the U.S. should pull troops out of Afghanistan or whatever. Does that mean we can't support those policies anymore because they also agreed with that concept? Even if we come at it from different reasons or anything? Like, I mean, I really don't understand how in the modern day you can be a simp for IP. It's the same... It's honestly the same thing that comes like pro-capitalism arguments. It's like, of course, they think that they like, if no one, like, literally, it's like the basic baby, if no make money, no make art. It's like, yeah, sure, totally. Artists just do it for the money. I totally make my art for the money, dude. You're just scared of a world without intellectual property, that you can't, like, and I said this before, and I'll say it again. I think a lot of lefties really do defend IP because they're like, they've accepted the fact they'll never own a house. They've accepted the fact they'll never own a car. They've accepted the fact they'll never own any of the other shit that they own. But they want to be able to say, I own this JPEG. I want to own this fucking, like, drawing. I want to own this video file. I want to own this. This is mine. I own it. You want to make the claim that you own it. You don't own it. Remember, we were all clowning and memeing on haha, like, NFT bros, you think you own the JPEG? It's like, yeah, and that's the same thing with this. You think you own the fucking, like, video file of a fucking movie? No, you don't. Second that video file gets out, it's over. You don't own it anymore. The idea we can own something that we literally, just, I thought lefties were, like, you know, anti-property. I thought we were, like, the fucking, like, fuck private property. And now we're like, no, but except for this one is legitimate. The fakest form of property is the one where we draw the line. That makes no sense. Literally, it's like, yeah, like, private property is theft. You can't own a house. You can't own land. You can't own that shit. But you can own a book about, like, a monkey eating feces off the ground. You can own the rights to that until you die. It's like, that is stupid. Why? That is fucking stupid. It's especially depressing because, like, we have leaders who have been leading the charge on this issue for years, and they've gone almost either unnoticed, unknown, or, like, disappeared in the history of time. Aaron Swartz died for this cause, and no one mentions him. No one mentions him anymore. He's just out in the ether. He's been a fighter for the pursuit of free information and free culture for his life. And now we're just throwing that away. For what? To pwn people who want to use, like, fucking, like, AI art. Like, it's like, why are we defending IP law instead of, like, doing actual things to, like, control AI? Why don't you do that? Anyways, that's pretty much all I gotta say on this topic. You can tell where I stand on a lot of these issues, obviously, although I'm not really quiet about it either. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the bell to notify when a future video of mine comes out. And if you see more content from me, consider supporting me on Patreon.